Glad to say I'm joined now by Brendan Ciarán Browne. He's an assistant professor of conflict resolution and reconciliation at Trinity College Dublin. Brendan, a very warm welcome once again. We've just heard from Priyanka and the escalating situation there in Lebanon. So let's begin with the expanding Israeli conflict. It appears they're now fighting on 7 fronts. This is what everyone's been trying to avoid. I mean, how great are the fears of a full-blown war now, for example, if Iran gets involved?
I mean, I think we're there. I don't think anybody can say if you're fighting on 7 fronts that it hasn't already escalated to that point. I mean, we have been warning about this for ages, for a long time. We've been calling on our governments to really do more to reel Israel back in from this standing on the abyss. It's absolutely disastrous. I mean, attacking Lebanon, attacking Syria, attacking or destroying Palestine, hitting Yemen. Remember, that wasn't so long ago as well. So it's very clear that the plan here is to escalate and is to expand what's been taking place in Palestine for a year across multiple different sites.
Is it clear what the end game, therefore, is for the Israeli government? Because it does appear to be expanding in several directions. And it has been argued that Benjamin Netanyahu may well have forgotten that any war, regardless of whether it's right or wrong, has to have a political purpose, a reason for it. Otherwise, there can be no form of quote-unquote success.
Well, I'm not sure he ever thought that he had a political purpose for this one, I have to say. It's very, very clear that this is dangerous territory that we're in. I mean, this is an Israeli government that seems to have lost all run of itself. I mean, people talk about this being an extreme Israeli government, the most extreme there has been in its history. But again, this is all part of the wider expansionist project. I mean, this is something that we really need to make sure isn't successful. Otherwise, the ramifications here for all of us globally are disastrous and very, very serious. And there are ways that we can do that. We need to ensure that Israel's not being stocked with weapons. We need to be making sure that the Americans are not funding what's going on here. We need to pull this back from the abyss because it's devastating, really.
Well, it is. And today, of course, we've been reflecting on a devastating 12 months for particularly the people of Gaza. We've seen the destruction and the death that continues to this day. I mean, what are the ramifications for generations going forward? Because this feels like it must be counterproductive for Israel to continue. It will just breed a new generation of resistance.
Well, what we've seen throughout the course of this year, and for many years, I have to say, is the complete failure of international law to protect innocent civilians in armed conflict in Palestine specifically. We've seen international law really not intervene in a way that is meaningful. Of course, we've had moments of partial intervention. We've had the International Court of Justice case, the Genocide Convention. But unless that is enforced, we've seen what the ramifications of enforcement look like. I mean, that is where we're sitting at this moment in time. If we do not meaningfully uphold these principles, then what is the future of our world that we're looking at? This is a major tectonic shift in global relations, and I think we have opportunities here. We have the chance to stop and pull back, and I really, really hope that our governments take these opportunities. We need much more diplomatic engagement. We need cool heads to get around the table, and we need a ceasefire. We need the weapons to stop being transferred. We need governments to uphold their responsibility because people don't want this. If you look at any polls across the world, people are actually saying we do not want this action in our name. So the people are speaking, the governments need to listen.
Yeah, and it does feel a long way before your speciality, conflict resolution and reconciliation, can even be spoken about, particularly in Gaza. Brendan, we thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. Pleasure to have you.